The sky over Earth was not quiet. Engines roared, louder than thunder, shaking the towers of New London. Billions of people across the planet turned their eyes upward. On the massive screens that circled every city, the same image burned, the Titan warship rising from its cradle. Titan was not just a ship. It was humanity's hope, its shield, its warning to the stars. More than 4 kilometers long, it carried weapons powerful enough to split a moon. Its armored hull gleamed black and silver, built from the strongest alloys Earth had ever forged. No single nation owned it. The Titan was the child of all humanity, built after the first strange signals had been heard from deep space. Today was its launch day. Today, humanity showed the universe that it was no longer weak. Inside the ship's command bridge, Captain Rourke stood tall. He was a soldier who had fought in 3 wars on Earth, a man known for never bending, never retreating. Around him, officers called out system reports. Reactor 1 at full output, shields stable. All railgun arrays armed. Rourke placed his hand on the railing. He spoke calmly, but his voice carried steel. "Bring Titan alive." Engines fired. The launch platform below the ship split open, and flames poured downward. The Titan rose, slow but unstoppable, like a mountain lifting into the sky. People on Earth cheered, tears in their eyes. They believed nothing could touch them now, but far away in the dark between stars, someone was already watching. In the alien council chamber, lights burned cold across walls of crystal. Dozens of species filled the vast hall, some with wings, some with scaled hides, some with faces hidden behind masks of bone. The chamber trembled as a new image appeared in the air. The Titan gasps echoed. "This is impossible," hissed one council member. "Humans were primitives. They should not have this power. They must be stopped," another growled. "If they rise, they will spread. They will conquer." The chamber filled with angry voices. Finally, the High Speaker, a tall figure with 6 eyes, raised its hand. "The humans awaken a Titan, then we must awaken fear. Warn them. Show them they are still prey." A signal was sent. On Titan's bridge, alarms screamed. A new transmission pierced through the comms, unlike anything human systems had ever heard. At first it was noise, a shriek of static. Then words formed, jagged, inhuman, but translated by the ship's AI. "Turn back. Remain in your cradle. Leave the stars. If you do not, you will be destroyed." The bridge went silent. Officers stared at Captain Rourke. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he leaned forward, eyes cold as iron. "They know us. They fear us. That means they are already our enemy." Outside the bridge, Titan's railgun turrets rotated, aiming into the dark sky above Earth. Missile bays armed, shields brightened with energy, and the massive warship's shadow stretched across the ocean. The cheering crowds on Earth could not hear the alien voice. They only saw Titan rising, proud and strong. They believed humanity was safe, but in the stars, fleets were already moving. Titan cleared the atmosphere. Earth shrank behind it, a blue and white jewel hanging in black space. The ship turned, engines blazing as it prepared for its first hyperspace jump. The crew was tense. They had trained for years, but none of them had expected first contact to begin with a threat. Lieutenant Arya, the youngest officer on the bridge, spoke in a low voice. "Captain, what if they are stronger than us?" Rourke did not look at her. His eyes stayed on the dark horizon of space. "Then we learn by fighting. Humanity has always bled, but humanity never kneels." A silence followed. The crew looked at him, and in that moment their fear turned into something harder. The countdown to jump began. 10, 9, 8. Titan's engines charged with a deep, growing hum. Then the sensors screamed. A fleet had appeared ahead. Not one ship, not 10, but hundreds. Cruisers, frigates, carriers, all alien, all armed, all waiting. Their formation closed like jaws around Titan's path. The bridge lights dimmed. The crew froze. Lieutenant Arya whispered the words no one wanted to hear. "Ambush." The alien transmission returned, this time sharper, crueler. "You were warned. Now you die." Every screen on the bridge glowed red with incoming weapons locks. Torpedoes armed across the alien fleet. Energy beams began to gather, glowing like suns. Captain Rourke's voice cut through the panic, hard and steady. Lock weapons. Full power to shields. If they want war, then they will taste war. On Earth, people still watch Titan's image with pride. Not knowing what waited in the dark, Titan's engines roared, railguns armed, and missile bays opened like wings of steel. The first battle of humanity among the stars was about to begin. The alien fleet fired. Space lit up in white fire as hundreds of beams struck the Titan. The warship shook as if the universe itself was tearing it apart. Shields flared bright, cracking under the storm. On the bridge, crew members clung to their stations. Shields at 70%, an officer shouted. Return fire, Captain Rourke commanded. Titan's railguns roared. Massive slugs of metal tore into alien cruisers, breaking them apart in flashes of flame. Missiles streaked outward, punching holes in the enemy wall. Each human shot killed, each strike spread fear. But for every alien ship that fell, more moved in. The fleet was endless. The battle had just begun. Far away, in the council chamber of the stars, the rulers of dozens of civilizations watched. The chamber was round and high, built of glowing crystal. Hollow screens floated in the air, showing the Titan in combat. Shock spread like fire. That ship, it should not exist, hissed a scaled creature with golden eyes. They built it in silence, answered a pale figure with wings folded behind its back. We thought humans were still fighting each other, but they were preparing. The chamber erupted with voices. Some shouted to destroy humanity now before it was too late. Others demanded caution, afraid of what the Titan's survival might mean. The high speaker struck the floor with its staff. The sound cut the argument short. 6 eyes glowed as it spoke. The humans are clever. They hid their strength. And now they test it against our fleets. A masked alien leaned forward. Its voice was sharp like a blade. They should have fallen already. Why are they still alive? The hollow screen showed Titan, burning but unbroken, pushing forward against the storm. Its cannons fired in all directions. Alien ships exploded one after another. Because, the high speaker said, they fight as if death is not enough to stop them. On Titan, chaos raged. Sparks burst from the ceiling. Crew members shouted over alarms. Shields at 40%. Portside railguns offline. The enemy closed in. 3 alien carriers launched swarms of strike craft. Dozens of small fighters screamed toward Titan, releasing waves of plasma fire. Explosions rocked the hull. Rourke gripped the railing tighter. His voice did not shake. Rotate the ship. Bring the starboard batteries online. Show them our fire. Titan turned like a giant beast in the void. Its cannons lit up, spitting thunder into the swarm. Fighters burst into flames, torn apart in waves. Human missiles cut through the alien ranks, leaving trails of shattered debris. The crew cheered, but it was short-lived. Captain, new readings, the sensor officer warned. Energy surge ahead. Something massive. Out in the dark, an alien superweapon powered up. A sphere of light grew at its core, brighter and brighter, building to a deadly charge. The alien council chamber fell silent. They all knew the weapon. It was a sun lance, forged to burn through worlds. The weapon was forbidden by old treaty, too powerful to use against lesser species. But now it was aimed at humans. They break the law of the stars, one alien whispered. They fear humanity that much, another replied. The high speaker's eyes narrowed. Fear makes them reckless. But what if the humans survive even this? The chamber held its breath. On Titan, the crew watched the weapon grow brighter. The ship's AI spoke in its cold, mechanical voice. Warning. Incoming superweapon discharge. Estimated impact in 20 seconds. Arya's hands shook on her console. Her voice was small. Captain, shields won't hold. Not against that. The bridge went quiet. Every officer turned to Rourke. He stood at the center, eyes locked on the growing light. Then we do what humans have always done, he said. We endure. Brace for impact, he ordered. The alien superweapon fired. A beam of pure light cut across the stars, blinding, unstoppable. It slammed into Titan's shields. The ship screamed as metal bent, systems overloaded, and entire decks went dark. Alarms roared across every corridor. Men and women were thrown from their stations. Fires erupted. On Earth, the broadcast signal broke. The cheering crowd suddenly saw only static. Panic spread across the planet. Families cried out, calling the names of loved ones aboard the Titan. In the alien council chamber, silence ruled. Smoke filled the holoscreens. Titan vanished from sight. Many council members sighed with relief. "It is done," one said. "The human threat is ended," said another, but the high speaker raised its hand. Its 6 eyes did not blink. "Wait, look closer." The smoke on the screen began to clear. Shapes moved inside. Hull-torn armor burning, but still there. Titan's outline returned, battered yet alive. Its cannons lit up once more. Shock filled the chamber. Some shouted in rage. Some whispered in fear. The high speaker's voice echoed. "The Titan lives. The humans will not fall so easily." On Titan's bridge, half the lights were out. Blood stained the floor. Officers dragged themselves back to their stations. Rourke wiped ash from his face. His voice, steady as ever, cut through the chaos. Status. "Shields gone. Weapons at 30%. Engines damaged," the officer answered. "And the enemy?" The sensor screen flickered, then cleared. The alien fleet was regrouping. More ships moved into formation. And the superweapon was charging again. The crew looked to their captain. He met their eyes, calm in the storm. "We are still alive. That means we fight." The alien superweapon begins to glow again, brighter than before as Titan, broken but unbowed, charges its last railguns for another strike. The Titan's bridge shook with every strike. The alien fleet surrounded them in a storm of fire. Sparks burst from broken panels. Crew members fought to keep their stations alive. "Superweapon charging again," shouted the sensor officer. "Time to impact. 30 seconds." The screen showed the alien weapon glowing brighter like a small sun. The crew's faces went pale. Captain Rourke stood tall at the center. His voice was calm but sharp as a blade. "All power to railguns. Target that weapon. If it fires again, Earth is finished." Engines screamed as Titan shifted. The massive ship turned toward the glowing threat. Its railguns locked in, barrels hot with fury. Fire, Titan's cannons roared. Slugs of dense metal shot across the void. The first volley ripped into the weapon's shield. The second cracked it open. The third smashed into its heart. For a moment the stars went white. The alien superweapon burst apart in a ball of fire that swallowed its escorts. The bridge lit up with cheers. Relief flooded the crew. But Rourke's face stayed hard. He knew the battle was not over. In the alien council chamber, chaos erupted. They destroyed the sun lance, one shouted. "Impossible. No young species has done this," another cried. The high speaker raised its hand. Its 6 eyes burned with unease. "Do you see now? The humans are not prey. They are hunters. They fight as if the void itself bends to their will. Some council members demanded immediate total war. Others begged for retreat. The chamber shook with arguments, but the high speaker's voice silenced them all. "If they live through this ambush, every world will know their name. And then no chain will hold them." On Titan, the battle raged on. Alien fleets pressed from every side. Fighters swarmed, missiles streaked. Beams cut across Titan's scarred hull. The ship bled fire, but it did not fall. Human gunners worked with steel nerves, every shot tearing holes through alien ranks. Rail guns thundered again and again, leaving wreckage spinning in the dark. "Captain, we cannot hold this position," Arya said, sweat on her brow. "If we stay, they will crush us with numbers." Rourke gave a single nod. "Then we break through." "Set course for the gate," the crew gasped. The Stargate was close, a vast ring of alien metal that opened to other systems. It was dangerous enemy territory, but it was the only way out, engines to maximum. "Cut us a path!" Titan surged forward. Its main cannons unleashed a wall of fire. Alien frigates shattered. Carriers broke apart. The fleet shifted, desperate to close the way. "Brace," Rourke ordered. Titan rammed straight through the line. Its armored hull crushed smaller ships, tearing them to pieces. Alarms screamed as the warship forced its way through fire and wreckage. At last, the great ring of the Stargate filled the view screen. It stretched for kilometers, glowing with strange energy. The crew stared at it with awe and fear. "If we go through," Arya whispered, "we enter their heart." "We already have," Rourke answered. The alien council chamber watched in disbelief. "They cannot enter the gate," said one. "It is sealed to outsiders." But then the screens showed Titan charging, engines blazing, shields flickering, but still alive. Human missiles exploded against the gate's defenses. Railguns shattered its guardian towers. The gate, ancient and proud, began to awaken. Rings of energy spun, light growing brighter, opening a path to the unknown. "They are forcing it open," someone gasped. The high speaker's 6 eyes narrowed. "They dare to storm the gates of the stars." On Titan's bridge, the gate loomed larger and larger. Energy rippled across the hull as the warship pushed into its field. The ship trembled, caught in forces that could tear steel apart. "Shields critical," shouted the officer. "Hold her steady," Rourke commanded. Behind them, the alien fleet regrouped. Hundreds of ships closed in, firing with desperate fury. Plasma fire streaked past. One shot ripped a hole through Titan's midsection, killing dozens. Still, the ship held course, alarms wailed. Engines strained. The gate's light filled the view screen. Then came the voice of the AI. "Warning. Unknown signature detected on the far side of the gate." The bridge froze. Unknown signature. Something waited for them. "What is it?" Aurea asked. The sensors flickered, then cleared. On the far side of the gate, hidden in the shadows, a fleet waited. Not small ships, giants, alien. Dreadnoughts larger than anything yet seen. The trap was deeper than anyone feared. The alien council chamber fell into silence as the image spread. "The humans step into the jaws of death," one said. "Not jaws," the high speaker answered. "Into the fire where legends are forged." Titan roared into the gate. The ship shook as space folded. Stars vanished. The crew held their breath as the warship burst out the other side, and there they saw it, an ambush greater than the last. Alien dreadnoughts, vast and armed with weapons that glowed like burning suns, turned toward the Titan, their guns powered up, targeting the lone human ship. The crew stared in horror. Their victory at the gate had only led them into the heart of another trap. The alien dreadnoughts open fire as Titan rushes forward. Alone against impossible odds, the Titan burst out of the gate. The crew gasped. Ahead of them, space burned with fire. Alien dreadnoughts waited, their hulls black and sharp like blades, their guns glowing with deadly light. Each ship was larger than entire cities. Together they formed a wall no human ship had ever faced. "Dreadnought fleet detected," the AI said. "Weapons charging." Titan had survived the first ambush, but now it was outnumbered 100 to 1. The bridge was silent, every officer frozen as the enemy's weapons lit up. "Captain," Arya whispered, her hands trembling, "what do we do now?" Rourke's voice was calm. "We fight until we cannot fight anymore." The alien dreadnoughts opened fire. The first barrage struck Titan like a hammer from the heavens. Shields collapsed, armor ripped. Decks shook apart. Hundreds of crew were thrown from their stations. Fires burned across the corridors. "Shields offline," shouted an officer. "Engines damaged!" Titan's guns roared back, but each railgun strike only scratched the dreadnoughts. The aliens pressed forward without fear. On Earth, the broadcast signal flickered. Families saw only fragments, Titan burning, men and women screaming, alarms howling. Then the feed went dark. Panic spread across every city. Crowds filled the streets, staring at the skies. "Is the Titan gone?" people asked. "Has Earth been left alone again?" Governments rushed into emergency meetings. Generals shouted across war rooms. Leaders demanded answers, but no answers came. Earth had no way to know if its greatest ship was alive or dead. On Titan, survival became a nightmare. Alien boarding craft launched from the dreadnoughts. Dark pods slammed into Titan's hull, cutting through steel. Doors burst open. Alien soldiers poured in, armed with plasma blades and rifles that screamed with fire. Human marines met them in the corridors. Armor black, visors glowing, rifles spitting lead and steel. The halls of Titan became rivers of war. Grenades shook the air. Gunfire thundered. Screams echoed through smoke. The aliens expected fear. Instead, they met fury. A single human soldier fought like 10. Even wounded, they rose again. Even surrounded, they struck back. The aliens had never seen such rage. Back on Earth, military command made a desperate choice. A second Titan-class ship was still under construction. Its name was Leviathan, but it was only half finished. Its weapons incomplete, its engines untested. Some argued it was too dangerous to launch. "If we send Leviathan now, we may lose both," said one general, but others shouted louder. "If Titan falls, humanity falls with it. Leviathan must launch, ready or not." Orders were given. Engineers worked without rest. Sparks lit up the docks as the second giant ship slowly came alive. Still, it would take weeks before Leviathan could fly. Humanity had only one shield left, the Titan. On Titan's bridge, smoke choked the air. The crew fought fires with bare hands. Reports of dead flooded in. But still the ship endured. "Captain," Arya cried, "we cannot hold them. They are everywhere." Rourke stood unbroken, his voice hard. "Then hold every corridor, every deck, every inch. If they want this ship, they will pay for it in blood." Alarms blared. The AI's cold voice cut through. "Warning, internal security breach. Enemy forces detected on multiple decks. Breach in progress on command level." The crew froze. The aliens were cutting through toward the bridge itself. In the alien council chamber, eyes watched the feeds. They saw human soldiers fighting in burning halls, saw them refusing to surrender even when outnumbered 10-1. "They are mad," one alien whispered. "No," the high speaker answered, its 6 eyes narrow. "They are human, and madness is their weapon." The chamber shook with fear and anger. Some demanded to end the war now before humanity spread further. Others warned that it was already too late. "They will not stop," the high speaker said. "Not until they stand over our thrones." On Titan, the battle reached the command deck. Explosions rocked the doors. Sparks showered across the bridge. Human soldiers stood in formation, rifles ready, as steel began to melt under alien cutters. The crew braced. Arya gripped her sidearm, her hands shaking but her eyes fierce. Rourke drew his pistol and stood at the front, ready to meet the enemy face to face. The door split open with fire. Alien warriors poured through, their weapons glowing, their voices a scream of war. Gunfire exploded. The bridge filled with thunder and smoke. Humans and aliens clashed in brutal combat, so close that blades and fists struck as often as bullets. Through the chaos, a single figure moved. A human in uniform, eyes cold, face twisted with betrayal. He raised a weapon not at the aliens, but at his own captain. "Traitor," Rourke growled. The man smiled. "Humanity cannot win, but I will survive." He pressed a control on his wrist. Suddenly, alarms howled across Titan. Airlocks hissed open. Whole sections of the ship depressurized. Thousands of crew were torn into the void, screaming as space swallowed them. On the bridge, air begins to rip away. The traitor stands with the aliens as Titan's crew is pulled toward the stars. Air roared out of Titan's torn decks. Crew members screamed as the void pulled at them. Loose panels, tools, and bodies were ripped toward the stars. On the bridge, soldiers braced against railings, clinging with bleeding hands. Alarms wailed. Red lights flashed. "Emergency seals failing," the AI warned. Captain Rourke fought to stay upright. His coat snapped in the rushing wind. He glared at the traitor standing with the alien boarding party. "Close the airlocks," Rourke shouted. The traitor only smiled. "You still don't understand, Captain. Humanity cannot win. The aliens are the future. I choose survival." Alien warriors pushed forward, their blades glowing, their rifles spitting fire. Human soldiers met them head-on, weapons blazing. The battle for the bridge began. The fight was brutal, loud, and close. Gunfire hammered the walls. Glass shattered. Smoke filled the air. Human marines in black armor fought with rage. They fired at point-blank range, slamming into the aliens with fists and rifle stocks when ammo ran dry. One soldier grabbed an alien by the throat and dragged it into the rushing air, both vanishing into the stars. The aliens pressed hard, but every corridor burned with human fury. They expected surrender. Instead, they found teeth and steel. In the lower decks, the battle was even worse. Alien strike teams cut through bulkheads, flooding into engineering. Human engineers dropped their tools, picking up rifles. They fought in the glow of broken reactors, turning wrenches into weapons when bullets ran out. Every corner of Titan became a war zone. Halls shook with grenades. Fires spread through medical bays. Even wounded crew grabbed weapons, crawling from stretchers to shoot. The Titan was bleeding, but it was alive. On the bridge, the traitor ducked behind alien guards. He pointed at the captain. "Kill him! End this now!" The alien surged. Rourke raised his pistol and fired, his shots tearing through their ranks. Smoke burned his lungs. Blood ran down his arm. But his eyes never wavered. Arya fought beside him, her face streaked with soot. She shot an alien soldier off its feet, then swung her rifle like a club against another. "Captain, we have to seal the bridge," she shouted. Rourke nodded. "Blow the emergency shutters, now!" A Marine slammed his hand onto the controls. Massive steel shields dropped over the broken doors, slamming down with thunder. The roar of escaping air slowed. The bridge steadied. The aliens trapped inside hissed in rage. Now the fight was face to face. In the alien council chamber, the battle was broadcast on the great screens. Council members watched as humans bled, fought, and refused to yield. "They are mad," one alien whispered. "Madness does not hold corridors against impossible odds," another answered. The high speaker's 6 eyes glowed. "No, that is not madness. That is human will. And it is the most dangerous weapon we have ever seen." Fear spread across the chamber. Some demanded to withdraw the fleets. Others called for total destruction. But no one could ignore what they saw. Humans did not die quietly. They turned death into a weapon. Back on Titan, the traitor shouted again, his voice cutting through the chaos. "You fools. Even if you kill me, the aliens will win. You cannot defeat their numbers." Rourke fired a single shot. The traitor's weapon flew from his hand, clattering across the floor. Rourke stepped forward, his pistol steady. "Numbers do not decide victory. Resolve does," the traitor sneered. "Then you will all die together." Before anyone could move, he pressed another control on his wrist. A loud alarm screamed across the ship. The AI's voice echoed cold and sharp. "Warning! Reactor sabotage detected. Core overload in progress." The bridge froze. "Reactor meltdown in 20 minutes. Panic rippled across the crew. If the reactor exploded, Titan would be torn apart, and every soul aboard would die. Arya turned, her voice tight with fear. "Captain, he has doomed us all." Rourke's eyes locked on the traitor. "No, he has only doomed himself." Gunfire still roared as aliens fought humans in the smoke-filled bridge. Marines fell, but more took their place. Blood painted the steel floor. Rourke shouted over the chaos. "Engineering, can you stop the overload?" Static answered. Then a voice came through, weak but clear. "We are trying, Captain, but the sabotage runs deep. We need more time." "You have it," Rourke said. He turned back to the battle. His voice thundered. "Hold the bridge! Hold the ship! Titan will not fall today." In engineering, sparks rained as crews ripped into the reactor's glowing heart. Alarms screamed louder, the countdown ticking. 19 minutes, 18. Engineers worked with bare hands, burning their skin as they ripped wires and slammed panels back into place. Every second mattered. On the bridge, the traitor tried to run. He ducked through smoke, searching for an escape. But Arya was faster. She slammed him against the wall, her pistol pressed to his chest. "Why betray us?" she demanded. The man only laughed, even as blood ran from his mouth. "Because humans are weak. I chose the winning side." Arya's eyes blazed. "Then you chose wrong." Before she could fire, an explosion tore through the ceiling. Alien reinforcements crashed into the bridge, weapons blazing. The bridge shook as the new wave of aliens stormed in. Smoke and fire filled the air. Human soldiers threw themselves into the fight, guns blazing, fists striking, blades clashing. The floor was slick with blood, both human and alien. At the same time, the ship's AI voice cut through the chaos. "Warning! Reactor overload in 17 minutes." The words hit everyone like a hammer. 17 minutes, until Titan tore itself apart. Captain Rourke's face was pale but steady. He fired his pistol into the mass of alien warriors, then shouted, "No retreat! Hold them back! Titan does not fall." His words cut through the smoke like steel. The crew tightened their grips on their weapons. They would not give an inch. Down in engineering, chaos reigned. The reactor chamber glowed white-hot, sparks raining like fire. Engineers worked with blistered hands, their uniforms soaked in sweat. "We cannot stop it," one shouted, pulling scorched wires from a console. "The overload is locked in," another cried, blood running down her arm. But Chief Engineer Maddox slammed his fist against the controls. His voice was rough, fierce. "No, Titan was built to endure the impossible. We will not fail. Keep working." The countdown ticked down to 16 minutes. On the bridge, Arya held the traitor against the wall, her pistol pressed hard against his chest. "Tell us the code to stop it," she demanded. The man only laughed, blood dripping from his mouth. "There is no code. The overload will burn everything. You cannot stop it. Humanity dies today." Rourke's jaw tightened. He stepped closer, his eyes cold. "You underestimate my ship. Titan was built with secrets even you do not know." The traitor froze, his smile faltering. "What secrets?" But Rourke turned away, shouting over the battle. "Arya, link me to the hidden systems. It is time." In the alien council chamber, the great screens still showed Titan's burning corridors. Alien leaders leaned forward, their faces pale with shock. "They are still fighting," one whispered. "They should already be dead," another hissed. The High Speaker's eyes glowed with fear and awe. "No ship should survive such sabotage. Yet the humans endure. What are they hiding?" Silence spread through the chamber. The aliens had thought humanity broken, but what they saw instead was a storm rising. Back on the bridge, Oria's fingers flew over the panels, bypassing locks, forcing systems awake. Then with a loud hum, a hidden console rose from the floor. Strange blue lights pulsed across it. The traitor's face went white. "No, that system was never meant to be used. It is forbidden." Rourke ignored him. He placed his hand on the glowing console. The AI's voice dropped to a deep, resonant tone. "Captain, authorization confirmed." Titan protocol unlocked. The ship began to change. Across its massive hull, hidden panels split open. Enormous cannons unfolded, larger than anything the aliens had ever seen. Gleaming wings of armor extended, locking into place. The Titan's dark silhouette grew even more monstrous, glowing with power. In engineering, the crew staggered back as the reactor's unstable energy was rerouted. Instead of melting down, the core pulsed, channeling its fury into the new weapons. The countdown froze at 15 minutes. Then the AI's voice rang out. "Overload diverted. Energy conversion complete." "Primary weapon charged," Maddox gasped, his face lit by the blinding glow. My God, they built it as a weapon. Outside, alien fleets circled, thousands of warships waiting to finish the kill. They watched in disbelief as the human Titan transformed before their eyes. On the bridge, the traitor screamed, "You cannot fire it. You will destroy everything. You will bring doom to us all." But Rourke's voice was calm, ironclad. "No, we will bring freedom. Fire control, prepare to unleash hell." The Titan's core thundered. Energy surged into the forward cannon, a weapon hidden since the day of its creation. The barrel glowed white-hot, brighter than the sun. Alien captains shouted warnings across their channels. Fleets scrambled, breaking formation. Panic spread. In the council chamber, alien leaders stood frozen, their eyes wide with horror. "They built a weapon from a dying star," one whispered. "They are not supposed to have such power," another said, trembling. The High Speaker's voice shook. "This is not war. This is annihilation." On the bridge, Arya's hands shook as she stared at the growing light of the cannon. "Captain, once we fire this, there is no turning back." Rourke's eyes never left the display of the enemy fleet. His voice was low, steady. "Then let history begin here," the AI's voice boomed. "Primary weapon at full charge." Outside, the alien fleet tried to scatter. But it was too late. "Fire," Rourke commanded. The Titan roared. A blinding beam of energy erupted from its cannon, cutting through space like a blade of light. The first alien capital ship caught in its path was sliced in half instantly. Explosions rippled through the fleet, ships burning, crews screaming as their hulls melted. The weapon tore through dozens of warships in a single sweep, leaving a burning scar, across the stars. The bridge shook from the power of the shot. Human soldiers cheered, their voices rising through the smoke and blood. For the first time, victory seemed possible, but the AI's voice broke through the celebration, cold and sharp. Warning, weapon discharge unstable. Core energy rising again. Arya's face drained of color. Captain, the reactor is overheating again. Worse than before. The console flared with red light. The AI continued. Critical overload in 10 minutes. Total destruction unavoidable unless stabilized. The Titan had unleashed its fury, but now it stood on the edge of self-destruction. The Titan's secret weapon had shattered the alien fleet, but its own core was burning out of control. 10 minutes remained before humanity's greatest ship tore itself apart. The Titan's cannon faded, leaving trails of glowing wreckage drifting across the stars. Alien warships burned like dying suns. For a brief moment, silence filled the bridge. The crew stared at the view, their faces pale, their eyes wide. They had just destroyed half a fleet in a single shot. But then the AI's voice cut in, sharp as a blade. Warning, reactor core overheating. Critical overload in 9 minutes. The silence shattered. Panic spread through the crew. Men and women scrambled at their stations, shouting over one another. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The deck plates trembled. Captain Rourke stood steady at the center of the chaos. His voice boomed across the bridge. Focus, Titan still lives. We will not die with her. Maddox report. Down in engineering, Chief Engineer Maddox coughed through smoke. His voice crackled through comms. Core temperature rising fast, Captain. That shot drained stabilizers. Another surge like that, and the entire ship will blow apart. Options, Rourke demanded. Buy us time, Maddox growled. We'll fight the reactor, but you'll need to hold the enemy back. Outside, the alien fleet was not finished. Though dozens of their ships had been destroyed, hundreds remained. They closed ranks, surrounding Titan like a pack of wolves. Their commanders barked furious orders, voices filled with fear and rage. Destroy the human warship. Do not allow another shot. Alien vessels swarmed in, cannons blazing. Streams of plasma lit the void, hammering Titan's hull. Shields flared, buckled, and failed, section by section. Armor cracked under the storm. On the bridge, Arya braced herself as explosions rocked the deck. Captain, they're coming from every direction. If we stay here, we'll be torn apart before the reactor even kills us. Rourke's eyes narrowed. Then we move. Plot a course. Straight through them. Gasps rippled across the crew. To charge into the heart of the enemy fleet sounded like madness. But they saw the fire in their captain's eyes, and their fear turned to steel. Titan roared to life. Engines flared, driving the massive warship forward like a spear. Alien ships tried to block its path, but Titan plowed through, guns blazing, every weapon fired at once. Turrets spat thunder. Missile bays erupted with fire. Alien cruisers exploded, their debris scattering across the void. But the cost was heavy. The enemy swarmed like hornets, pounding Titan's sides. Whole sections of the ship went dark. Marines were blown into space as hull breaches ripped open. Still, Titan pressed forward. In the alien council chamber, leaders watched the horror unfold on their screens. Their voices trembled with disbelief. The human warship should be crippled. Yet it charges into the heart of our fleet. They are not retreating, another whispered. They never retreat, the High Speaker said. His voice shook with dread. They are proving what we feared. Humans do not yield, even when fire consumes them. Some council members demanded retreat. Others demanded all fleets converge. But every face showed fear. For the first time in centuries, they were fighting an enemy that refused to break. Back on Titan, the reactor alarms grew louder. Core overload in 7 minutes, the AI warned. In engineering, Maddox and his crew tore into the reactor's glowing heart. They ripped apart burning panels, their hands blistered, their uniforms soaked with sweat and blood. Reroute the plasma vents, Maddox shouted. They'll blow the aft decks, a young engineer cried. Then let them blow. Better to lose a deck than the whole damn ship, the crew obeyed, dragging cables and slamming controls. The reactor fought them like a living beast, each surge throwing them across the chamber. Still, They worked, every second pushing them closer to death. On the bridge, the traitor, bound and bleeding, laughed weakly through the smoke. "You think you are winning, Captain? But your ship is dying. Your people are dying. Humanity cannot hold against this tide." Rourke strode over and slammed the man against the wall. His voice was thunder. "Humanity does not hold. Humanity fights. That is the difference." The traitor's laughter faded, fear creeping into his eyes for the first time. Titan punched through another alien line, cannons tearing warships apart. The crew cheered as enemies exploded in waves of fire. But cheers turned to cries as the ship shuddered under another barrage. Whole corridors collapsed. Fires consumed medical bays. Arya's hands flew over controls. "Captain, shields are down to 15%. Hull breaches on multiple decks. We cannot take much more." Rourke's face was set in stone. "Then we take the fight to them." "All power to forward guns." The ship obeyed. Its massive cannons thundered, unleashing a storm of destruction. Alien ships scattered, many breaking under the fury. But still they came, fearless, desperate to end the Titan. The countdown continued. Core overload in 5 minutes. In engineering, Maddox shouted over the roar of the reactor. "Captain, we can stabilize the core, but we'll need a full shutdown. That means no weapons, no shields, nothing." On the bridge, silence fell. To shut down meant becoming a helpless target in the middle of the enemy fleet. Arya's eyes widened. "If we go dark, they will tear us apart in seconds." Maddox's voice came back, fierce and unyielding. "If we don't, the core will tear us apart anyway. Make your choice." Rourke stood at the center of the bridge, smoke swirling around him, enemy fire hammering the ship, the countdown ticking towards 0. His voice cut through the storm. "Prepare for full shutdown." The Titan shook like a dying beast. Flames spread through the decks. Crew members ran through smoke-filled halls, dragging the wounded, shouting orders. Every alarm screamed. On the bridge, the AI's voice cut sharp through the chaos. "Core overload in 4 minutes." Rourke stood tall in the center of the storm. His eyes burned with iron resolve. "Shut her down, now." Arya hesitated only a moment before slamming her hand onto the control panel. The Titan went dark. Engines died. Cannons silenced. Shield barriers collapsed. Lights across the ship flickered out. For the first time since it launched, the Titan floated powerless in space. Alien fleets closed in, their ships circling like predators around a wounded giant. Their weapons glowed, preparing to fire. On the bridge, silence hung heavy. The crew felt the weight of death pressing close. The traitor smiled weakly, his voice breaking. "It's over. Your ship is finished. Humanity's last hope dies here." Rourke's answer was a whisper, low but unshakable. "No, humanity's hope never dies." In engineering, Maddox and his crew worked with desperate speed. Sweat burned their eyes, blood stained their hands. They crawled into vents, pulled burning cables and slammed controls. "Power bleed stable," Maddox shouted. Cooling vents opening. "Reactor falling." The reactor's furious glow dimmed, the wild surges calming. For a heartbeat, hope flickered. Then the AI's voice came again. "Warning, external fleet weapons charging. Incoming barrage in 1 minute." Outside, alien commanders watched the human warship drifting, powerless. Confidence surged. "Finish them," one snarled. "Burn the Titan to ash." Thousands of alien cannons lit up, their glow filling the void like a rising sun. On the council chamber's great screens, alien leaders leaned forward, eager to see humanity crushed. Their voices whispered with anticipation. The humans fought with fury, but even fury ends in silence. On the Titan's bridge, Arya turned to Rourke, her face pale. "Captain, if they fire, we cannot stop it." The countdown echoed in the silence. 30 seconds, 29. Rourke's voice rose, steady and fierce. "Maddox, how long until we can restart?" Maddox's reply came through ragged breathing. "Reactor stable in 60 seconds. We can give you everything after that. But no sooner. 30 seconds until alien fire. 60 seconds until Titan lived again." The crew looked to Rourke. Fear filled their eyes. But he stood like a wall, his voice a blade. "Then we hold. Every second counts. Humanity stands until the last breath." The alien barrage charged brighter, filling the darkness with light. On the council screens, alien leaders whispered in awe, "Why do they not surrender? Why do they face death in silence?" The High Speaker's eyes glowed. His voice shook. "Because they are human." 20 seconds. On the bridge, soldiers stood at their posts, rifles clutched, though useless. Engineers whispered prayers. Arya's hands trembled over the controls, ready to bring the ship back alive. The traitor stared at them in disbelief. "You fools! You wait for nothing. You wait for death." But no one moved. No one broke. The Titan waited, silent and proud. 10 seconds, alien cannons locked on target. The void glowed with fire. 9, 8. Maddox screamed into comms. "Core stable!" Restarting systems. 7, 6. On the bridge, Arya slammed her hands on the console. Lights flickered back to life. Engines groaned. "Shield sparked. 5, 4. Systems rising," the AI confirmed. "Power flow at 30%. 3, 2. The alien fleet unleashed their fire. Thousands of beams, torpedoes, and plasma bolts tore through space toward the Titan. 1. Titan's shields flared awake. The first wave of fire smashed into the barrier, shaking the ship, tearing through decks. But Titan held. The crew roared in defiance. "Guns online," Arya shouted. "Target the flagship," Rourke ordered. Titan's massive cannons lit once more, fueled by the reborn core. They thundered, their fire tearing through the alien flagship at point-blank range. The great vessel exploded, ripping shockwaves through the enemy fleet. Alien formations broke apart, panic spreading. Titan's guns swept through them, tearing line after line to burning wrecks. On the council screens, alien leaders fell silent. Their faces showed fear greater than before. The High Speaker whispered the truth. None dared speak. They cannot be beaten. Not by fleets. Not by fear. Humanity will fight until the stars burn out. On the bridge, smoke and fire still filled the air. The crew was wounded, bloodied, exhausted. But they stood victorious as alien fleets scattered. Rourke's voice carried across the bridge, strong and steady. "Remember this day. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity does not break. We are the Titan, and we will never fall." Cheers shook the ship. Across the void, alien survivors fled, leaving behind wreckage and fear. But deep within the Titan, the AI's voice whispered a final warning. "Captain, reactor core remains unstable, damage irreversible. This ship may not survive another battle." Rourke's eyes narrowed, but his voice was calm. "Then let them fear us while we stand. Let them know humanity is not finished. The Titan fights on,